My religious journey is definitely a whack show. It has its ups and it has its downs for sure. It started off, not even knowing what the term God was and who he was at all. And then when I was, let's say, 13, that's when it just really hit home. It was like, wow. Like, I know who he is, I know what he's doing in my life, and I know that he has a plan for me, and I must follow it if I want to be anywhere in life. I believe that my past has influenced my religious beliefs significantly because there's just been so much trauma yet happiness within my life that it's hard not to believe that there is a higher authority somewhere. I was taken away from my biological parents at 4. Basically, a police car showed up and we were taken away. They, it said some big words that I didn't understand as a 4-year-old. But I got this idea because my mom had told me, like, Cassie, like, you and your brother are going to be taken away. Don't get scared. It's not going to be for a while. So I had, like, screamed and I cried and I was like, Mommy, I don't want to go. Everything about the night was just really devastating, and it was a lot, obviously, for a 4-year-old. You're really scared. You don't know what's going on. Like, all you see is the flashing red and blue lights of the car, and getting into the car with my brother was like, crap, this is real, And the reason we got taken away was because they were living in the house where you shared it with a few other people, and they had saw that we were home alone and we were wandering the streets. And this is, like, downtown Indy, like, places you shouldn't really be wandering around as a 4-year-old girl or 4-year-old male for my brother. The neighbors, they called the police and were like, listen. And then they come and they investigate, and then they see marijuana sitting on the TV stand, stuff like that, and they're like, yeah, this isn't the ideal place for them. I've been told that there was people like that had come, like the police officer had giving them a warning and stuff. Looking back on it now, after hearing the story, is like, yeah, you get that idea, like, your parents get so many warnings till eventually, 3 strikes you're out, the kids have to be taken. So looking back on it, yeah, I could see that coming easily. From the 4-year-old Cassie stance, no, I didn't see it coming. We had gotten taken away when we were 4, right? And we were immediately put into the foster care, like an orphanage, within the DCS. And then we got put within a week into a foster home, which is just a home like a normal people, and they just foster in these children. They can debate if they want to adopt them, or it can just be a temporary home. My story was like, we went to the orphanage, and then we went to our first foster home, we went to the second foster home, we went to the third, and then we found my adoptive parents. Me and my brother, we got taken from the orphanage to the first foster home, and we didn't really get fed. And so every single night we'd sneak downstairs, me and my brother, we'd be like, you ready? And we'd be like, you ready? And we would go take grapes from the fridge. And that was basically our meal every single day, was just grapes. So we had to get taken out of that foster home just because we were so frail. And so then we got moved to the second foster home, which was the worst one. And it was the one that I really dread talking about the most. It's probably the hardest part of the entire adventure, really. They would oftentimes take our fingers and slam them in doors for fun. So I actually have a scar right here on my index finger on my left hand from that. And then there was this one night, and I'd go to lay down, and then I started falling asleep, and I was half asleep, and I wake up in the middle of the night to a man, and he had his hand completely under my undergarments, and I'd woken up and I started freaking out and I was crying, and I was like, what the heck, and he was like, shh, 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 go back to bed. And then he had walked to the bathroom and washed his hands, and then he left. As I grew up, I kind of convinced myself maybe he was checking to see if I peed my pants, but in reality, as you grow up, you're like, that's not what happened. Stop trying to stop convincing yourself of something that didn't happen. Because that's not what happened. In reality, I know what happened. So we actually had to be taken out of there, not because I told anybody. I never told my caseworker anything, but instead it was because they had actually found rope marks around my brother's neck, so we had to get taken out. After that second home, we went to Randy and Robin, they were like the people that we trusted the most. They were super religious, which actually brought me to Christianity. They took us to Sunday service, and I went into a youth group, and so from there I just found people that I trusted, people that I loved and cared about. Me and my brother, we got to just be with each other. We were constantly laughing. We were brought to church where there was a youth group and there was music, and they taught us about God, and it was so foreign to us. We were like, what is God? And we learned about something so great and something that has obviously changed my life for the better. And then as we got out of that foster home and as my parents adopted us was when I started growing my faith, because I came intrigued with the idea of God and having somebody to look after us no matter what we've gone through. Is everybody ready? Okay, nobody be afraid to sing. It's not even about... okay. Right? It's literally not about if you sing good or bad. No. Neither one of us are good at singing, but we still do it because it's praising God, right? That's what it's about. So don't be afraid to sing out is what I'm saying. Nobody cares. This is a judgment-free zone. Let the praise go up as the walls come down. All creation, everything with breath and me, the sound. Children, He has pure hearts with grace with God.
We've been in youth group together ever since 6th grade, so we've been super close ever since.
Is that how you guys met?
Yeah, 6th grade, yeah.
So right now, I'm going to be going over my testimony that I'll be sharing with our co-ed youth group today. Since I've never done a testimony in front of anybody, not even my parents, I'm definitely a little bit nervous as far as being vulnerable, which is sometimes can be really hard for me, but at the same time, I also trust all these people. So I'm really excited to be able to share my story and have other people learn a little bit more about me. Haley knows my story.
I know most of it. There are probably bits and pieces I don't know, but I think I would probably be the only one who knows most of it, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Cassie, what is a testimony?
Who asked?
Dante.
A testimony is where you just share, or somebody talks about how before Christ, during Christ, and then after Christ. So in your journey of finding Christ. So mine will be before I found Christ, and then where I'm at, and then my struggles I've dealt with during my relationship with God. Does anybody here believe in miracles from God? Okay, so I'm going to read a little verse that kind of explains that for me. It says, it's in Exodus chapter 15, and then verse 26. It says, if you will listen carefully to the voice of the Lord your God and do what is right in His sight, obeying His commandments and keeping all His decrees, I will not make you suffer any of the diseases I sent on the Egyptians, for I am the Lord who heals you. After reading that verse, I've just realized that God wasn't there and He didn't put us through that to hurt us, even though it may have hurt, but we know that that wasn't His goal. It was more to prepare us for what was to come, and it made us stronger, and that's how we were brought to Him. And it's just a good verse to go back to. It's a good one to just remember all of the stuff that you go through. It's for a reason. It's to make us stronger. It's to bring us to certain people. It's brought me to Haley. It's brought me to my family. And it got me to the point where I am today, where I kind of not forgotten, but I put aside the tragedies that happened when I was little and just focused it on the why God did it in the positive way, not the negative way. To this day, I don't ask God, why did you do this? Because I know the reason why.
I just wanted to say, I'm super proud of her, and, I love her dearly, and I can't wait to see what God is going to do in her life and how she's going to impact others just like she's impacted me.
I wanted to give my testimony to open up everybody else's hearts. The thought of actually sharing something and being vulnerable and open with one another. When we did the worship night, that was the first night where everybody was actually being themselves, opened up, and was just having a good time. So I finally shared my testimony because I felt comfortable enough with doing it. And since I am leading them closer to God, I thought I'd at least share my journey and where I'm at with my relationship with God. And that way they'd be open to the new idea of sharing their own. After I shared my testimony, I felt a little bit overwhelmed. I feel like I gave a lot of myself away in a sense, but not in a negative way, more of a positive way where I felt like I could trust these people more now that they know. I just felt like it was just a good way to start something new, start new relationships, and that way we can trust each other, and trust is the only way you're going to be able to grow any type of relationship with anyone, especially with God. I think that my story can help quite a few people on their journey with faith, just because especially the end product of my biological parents being where they were and having to give us up, and then my parents that I have now not being able to have children. So just that whole situation of how we met in the middle was just God's work. And so when somebody looks at that, that just shows that He is there, and that's just one of the many stories, that show that God is a miracle worker and that He does stuff like that for us. So I have this box that I got on my adoption day, and it just has some of my just favorite memories and stuff like that. So it has my date, or the date I got adopted on, which was December 14th, 2012, which was the day before my birthday. Just kind of cool. And then it says my forever family. This was when we came home from our adoption, and so one of my mom's family friends, she made this poster and it said welcome home Hardwick party of 5, because our name had changed to Hardwick. And then this one's also, it's the same time as that one, but one of the first fun memories I had as a child, I guess. Well, not one of the first, but just one of the few before I was actually adopted. Come in.
Dinner is ready.
Okay.
Okay, so you guys butter the tops of the
That weird Amy went down there this week and Brian's in North Carolina.
Good job.
I really don't think that there's anything I would change about my life and my past, and I get that question a lot. It's always, Cassie, if you could go back, would you rather be taken away from your biological parents, or would you stay with them? Or Cassie, would you rather not be sexually abused or just abused in general? And the answer to that question is no. I wouldn't want to change any of that, just because it has formed me into the strong person that I am today, and it's caused me to be mentally stable, and just a lot mentally stronger. Even though I've had my downfalls, my ups are always a lot more potent than my downs are. And if it weren't for that past or my upbringing, I don't think I could say that, I'd be the person I am at all.
Do you think that you found your forever home?
Do I think I found my forever home? That is a yes, a definite yes, all the way.